do it. Yes, we can. Yes. So what we were building, guys, is a skill-driven, equitable platform right there, in which a community can be able to create and exchange value in a equitable manner, skilled and safe, equitable manner. So how do we maintain this house, and how do we make sure that this is legit? How we maintain this house is by performing what we call weekly reports. Weekly reports we call Sabbath reports, because it's going to happen on a Saturday. And essentially what we're going to do two things. We're going to give every individual, every member of the community, an individual report, and we're going to report on the overall community's performance. So each individual will have a profile in which we know whether, okay, yes, I'm a participant. Yes, what have I, how have I responded to the proposed guidelines of this new economy, what my response was, and what my response, or what my perception, or what is my perception of the founder of the social experiment, right? So I'll have that in my individual report. Basically, I would have my participation level as well, my share in worked out according to the contributions, the money that's allocated. Remember, I'd mentioned to you guys that 20% of the earnings will be allocated to those who contribute. So I'll have a share in this 20% if I made a contribution. And then I'll have a share here. Remember, we mentioned that 30% of the funds will be allocated to those who participate in the polls. So based on my participation here, I'll have a share in that. And then as well here, 50% of the earnings will be allocated to those who participate in the content creation. And again, my share. So everybody, so you'll work out a shareholding. Remember, this is the share in the rent of the house when it's rented out to the tenants. All right. So as this house gets bigger, there'll be more levels and more layers to this Sabbath weekly report. And these are all the activities of the custodian of the social experiment and the founder there. Now, the overall report will just be basically reporting on a number of community members, how many of those actually participated in endorsing or in a discussion around the guidelines of the community, and how many of those made a comment or got involved in deciding what they think of the founder. And then lastly, we get to see whether we have enough contributions to cover what's required. We also report on essentially how much of our content has been consumed and whether all of it has been consumed. And then lastly, we look at the reach, because what we measure in terms of content participation is the amount of views and expressions that we get from those who create content around our content and participate in the discussion. So this is like the reach. So essentially, this is what the Sabbath weekly report will look like in the first couple of weeks of the setup of the social experiment. And as we add more rooms to the house, there'll be more layers to this report. So awesome. That's how we maintain the house, guys.